Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. Langflow, episode 10 of 15. If two users talk to your AI application at the exact same time, how does the system avoid feeding one user's answers to the other? The answer lies in how you isolate threads, and that is exactly what state in session management does. First, let us clarify a very common point of confusion. We need to draw a sharp line between chat memory and semantic vector memory. Vector memory involves storing documents as embeddings and retrieving them based on meaning. We are not covering that here. Chat memory is simply the linear, chronological log of a conversation. It is the mechanism that allows the language model to remember what the user said 3 messages ago. By default, Langflow stores this linear message history locally using SQLite database. Every time a message passes through the system, it is recorded. But a database full of messages is useless if the system does not know which message belongs to whom. This is where the session ID operates. The session ID is a unique string that binds a sequence of interactions together. When you use the Langflow interface, the system generates a session ID for you automatically behind the scenes. In production, you will likely interact with Langflow via its API. If you have 2 distinct users interacting with your server simultaneously, you must pass a specific session ID for each in your API request. A standard practice is using the unique user ID from your own database as the Langflow session ID. When your first user sends a message, you pass their specific ID. Langflow queries the SQLite database for that exact string, pulls only their history, appends it to the prompt, and generates a response. When your second user interacts a millisecond later with their own ID, Langflow performs the exact same process in complete isolation. If you fail to pass a session ID in your API call, Langflow treats the interaction as a brand new event. The context drops completely. To maintain the thread, your external application must send that identifier with every single request. The way you expose this history to the language model depends entirely on the components you choose. Langflow offers 2 distinct approaches. If you are using a standard agent component, memory management is built right in. The agent automatically handles reading and writing to the SQLite database using the active session ID. You do not need to wire up anything extra to make it remember the conversation. Agents are highly abstracted, so if you're building a custom chain from scratch using base components and raw prompts, that built-in memory doesn't exist. This is where you use the message history component. You place this component into your flow and connect its output to a variable in your prompt component. When the flow runs, the message history component grabs the active session ID, fetches the relevant chronological log from the database, and formats it as text. This physically passes the stored back-and-forth dialogue into the context window before the language model ever sees it. Controlling the session ID at the API level is the single most critical requirement for scaling a conversational interface, because tying state strictly to a past identifier guarantees complete isolation across any number of simultaneous users. That's all for this one. Thanks for listening and keep building.